Hello everyone and welcome back to Superboy Beyond, and we are returning to Season 3 today with a commentary on the episode Neila, which for some reason I always think is pronounced Neila, but they say her name in the episode, so I'm definitely wrong. Anyway, if this is your first time watching one of our commentaries, it's not like a typical YouTube reaction video. You're not going to see or hear clips from the episode. You will see a heavily filtered version, which is going to be up there in the middle, but that's purely so you can keep time with us, because, you know, shit happens. Sometimes, like, the door will ring, you'll get a phone call, you need to go use the bathroom, something, and it's going to be a right pain in the arse to actually get back in sync with us. So that's why we do it the way we do, up there in the middle. We will count you in with a 3, 2, 1 play, and as long as you hit play when we do, you'll be watching in full sync with us. It is a full uncut reaction, just like a lot of YouTubers do on Patreon. We just give it to you for free because that's the way we do our content. I think if we were to try and do reaction content for this show, it just wouldn't work, because Warner Brothers is just really, really strict when it comes to how much footage from the show you can actually upload. I think because it's a 20-minute episode, roughly, if you have any more than like 5.5 minutes of an episode in a single video, they just block it worldwide instantly. And it's just not worth the aggro. So that's why we do this the way we do. And hey, it works out well for you because you get the full uncut reaction. So this isn't our first time, but let's get going. Season 3, Episode 4, Neila. I'll count you in with a 3, 2, 1 play. In 3, 2, 1, play. I don't remember much at all about this episode, to be honest. I think I remember Neila and the Beast slightly better, but even that I don't have particularly strong memories of. So I will defer to your judgment. Is this a good one before we start?
This is a fairly good one. Okay, there's some.
I remember I quite liked her outfit. She had like the very 80s rock style sort of hair.
Yes, and she was played by actress Christina Moore. Now, there's a couple of little things about the character of Neila. First off, is Neila is essentially an adaptation of the classic Superman foe from the late 80s, early 90s of Maxima, a character who comes to Earth looking to take him as a mate.
Yeah, wants a husband kind of thing.
Yeah. The other thing is, if you look at her name, and you'll see it in a few seconds when the title of the episode pops up.
There it is. Neila.
Neila is actually the word alien spelled backwards.
I like that. I always like when they do things like that. With the possible exception of Troll 2. Neil Parker's goblin spelled backwards. Well, yeah, no shit. Too bad you're in a movie called Troll 2 and there aren't any trolls in it.
Yeah.
It's a goblin movie, for fuck's sake. But now, I like her outfit. I think she looks pretty cool. And the armour at the front, like, I would say it looks slightly plasticky, but it's still... It looks like armour, at least, you know.
Yeah, they at least did their best to at least make it look metallic, even though we know it's not.
But yeah, I guess Neila is just, like you say, she's a Maxima ripoff. I guess it's kind of like Knick-Knack, you know? They couldn't use Toyman because they'd already gotten in trouble for using Metallo. So I guess by this point they just figured, we'll just change the name and basically do the same character.
Yeah. I like the blue flashes of light as he's hitting her.
Yeah, it gives like the impression of sparks or something. And I got to say, I think this scene is slightly better than a very similar scene that was in the Supergirl movie. In the Supergirl movie, you know, she just beats up Matt Frewer for a bit, and that's it.
Yeah. But remember,
Matt
Supergirl is a heroic character. This is a
villain, kind of.
yeah.
She's an antagonist. I don't know if I would call her an out-and-out villain, but then, you know, like I said at the beginning of this, my memories of this episode are hazy at best.
Yeah.
Since I mentioned Matt Frewer as being in Supergirl as one of the rapists, you know, we'll have to find something for him in season 5 because I love that guy.
Ooh,
He was
I got
great
an
as
idea.
Max Headroom, and he was
I've
good
got
in
an
Taken, the Spielberg miniseries too.
Yeah, I got an idea for him. I'll talk to you about it after the episode.
Okay, that'll be fun. Maybe we'll keep it in the recording though, just for fun. Otherwise, we're teasing the audience without a payoff.
Well, it'll be season 5. It'll be season 5. So let's just leave it.
Eventually, it could be a
Yep.
couple of years before we get there at this rate, though.
Yeah.
Still, at the very least, you know, anyone in the audience can rest assured knowing we do plan to keep going for another couple of years at least.
Yep.
Never seen that photo before. Looks like one of the
MGF. Is that supposed to be an XP of something?
who knows. But yeah, that photo of Superboy that was on the cover, I don't think I've ever seen that picture elsewhere. If anyone does know anywhere on the internet where you can see that photo in HD, let us know. It's always interesting when you see a picture that you've not seen before.
Just his reaction to that woman.
I just like the fact that, okay, he tried to, you know, he tried to R her.
Well,
And then he calls the police to report it.
I don't know if he
Seems
was
a bit
trying
stupid.
I don't know if he was trying to R her as much as trying to rob her. It can be intimidated.
Maybe it's just because of the Supergirl thing. I'm immediately jumping there.
Yeah.
Because they definitely were.
Yeah.
We were lifting up her skirt and everything in that. And yet, weirdly, not the worst scene in the movie. Weird that. Let's face it, Supergirl as the movie had no shortage of crap scenes.
Yeah, although I got to say here, you know, Lana putting on her bureau badge, and she says, "Oh, the police will be too busy to check it." No, they won't. When there is a barricade, they are going to check your pass first.
Yeah. I will say, I think the amount of destruction in this scene works really well. Like, they clearly used a fair amount of their budget on this episode.
Yeah.
Like, all those cars turned over, all the fire, all the explosions, they clearly spent money on this. But I guess it just goes to show, you know, season 3, this is the season where the show was saved. Because season 2 was definitely an improvement, but not by that much. Season 3 is a drastic shift in terms of quality.
Quality, tone, acting.
Absolutely.
I just love the interaction between the two of them right here. He's putting on his standard, lantern jawed Superman, and and she's being, this arrogant B word. I would love to make a figure of this character.
Yeah, I wonder where you would even get the pieces to put it together.
I don't even know what I'd use.
No.
I mean, the head is... Ooh.
The hair alone would be really tough.
Unless I get a rock star from the 80s.
Yeah, maybe a wrestler. I don't know. The funny thing is, Tracy Roberts, when she has talked about playing Darla, says like how much she hated the wig. It could have been worse. She could have had this one.
We'll have to point that out to her if we ever get her on the show.
Yeah. Just be like, I don't know if you ever saw this episode, but man, it's like a Darla wig, but on steroids.
Irradiated steroids.
Yeah.
You can kind of see in this episode how faded his suit is.
Yeah, you notice it a lot as well in Mindscape as well. There's a lot of shots in that where the blue is almost grey looking. It just looks very, very faded.
Yeah.
But there's shots in this that the costume started turning slightly cyan looking in terms of colour. It doesn't really look blue anymore. Some shots it looks better, but I think they've actually turned the saturation right up on these scenes. Or at least they've turned it up higher than it usually would be. Season 4 definitely improved on the suit with the royal blue. I know not everyone likes the slightly darker blue on a Superman suit, but I think of all the colours to darken, I think blue is probably the only one that you can really get away with and still have it look like Superman.
Yeah.
Let's face it, Dean Cain's suit was far darker than Gerard's ever was, even in season 4.
I think his suit was a little too dark.
I agree. I do like how sort of metallic and shiny Dean Cain's was, though. So when there was lights pointed at him, it brightened it right up. And I thought it worked quite well for that.
Yep.
Neila has nothing to do with Vexman, does she?
No.
Okay. I was wondering if... I haven't seen the Vexman episode as well, and because she keeps changing her identity, I thought maybe Vexman was a third identity later on or something. It's been so long since I've watched it, I have very little memory of that.
She actually looks good here.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I actually think I'm more attracted to her in this outfit than the previous.
And this guy looks like he stepped out of the 1970s.
I recognise him from something, and I'm really trying to place, where do I know that guy from?
I don't know. I think I've only seen him here.
Yeah, time to pull up IMDb. I know him from something else. But then again, I did say that about the guy that was in Rebirth as well, that I thought looked very familiar, and turned out Superboy was his one and only acting credit.
Yeah. Lana's really showing her jealousy in this scene. Referring to Neila as a hideous beast.
Yeah. But it's funny as well because, Lana constantly is dating other guys, and it's funny how Clark never shows the same level of whatever
As Clark, he only
jealousy.
shows it when it's Superboy.
Yeah. Right. I have found the actor's IMDb, and there is nothing that I know. I guess he's just got one of those faces.
Yeah.
Either that, or he's got a brother that looks just like him.
Mm.
Maybe he's the more successful actor. I don't know. Either way, I thought he did a very good job in that clothes scene. He played the comedy really well. Can't say I know her from anything else though.
Yeah, I don't think Christine Moore's been in anything else that I can recall. That doesn't mean she hasn't. It's just
I'm sure she had a decent career.
it's a shame she only made the 2 appearances on the show.
Yeah. Apparently, she was in Friday the 13th, the series, which, if I remember right, had absolutely nothing to do with Friday the 13th, the movies.
Yeah.
They just stole the name, I guess. And apparently, it's not a bad show, actually, as far as horror anthology shows go. But oh, the way his wig has turned up, that is so funny.
Mm.
I've never noticed that before, the way his wig is completely flapped up.
Well, you could kind
Nice
of
little...
tell that it was a toupee when you first saw
You
him.
can tell, but I never noticed that they actually went that far. I love the bureau set. I think if I ever won the lottery, I would rebuild the bureau set and just friggin' live in it.
Oh, so
Turn
you'd be like
Jackson's
Matt
office.
you'd be like Matt in the Dark
Yeah,
Universe.
yeah. Maybe I'd turn Jackson's office into my bedroom or something. If
Yeah.
there are any multiple millionaires out there that like our show and you want to rebuild the bureau set and give it to us as a studio to film our podcast in from now on, let us know.
Yes.
I doubt that will ever happen. Never mind.
You know,
It would be a pretty damn good, cool place, though, to record the podcast from, though, if we had a replica of that set.
Yeah. I
Anyway,
will
go
say
on.
this. I will say this about her plan.
Mm.
It's an ingenious plan, infiltrate the bureau to get rid of Lana. But how does she know that Superboy is actually involved with Lana just from the one moment where he saves her?
True. Yeah, she's making a lot of assumptions there, I think.
It's just lucky that her assumptions were spot on.
Yeah. If there was an extra scene where maybe it showed that she'd been on Earth for a few weeks or something, that would probably be enough because she probably would have noticed that they are together an awful lot by that point if she's keeping an eye on him. But
Yeah.
the fact that we see that she's literally just arrived, defended herself against a mugger, I guess, and yeah, she didn't have time to really find out anything about Superboy. But I guess, like Maxima, she's determined to make Superboy her husband, but she knows absolutely sod all about him, really.
Yeah, she's probably just working on, intercepted television transmissions.
Yeah. Or hell, being 1990, probably radio a lot of it.
Yeah.
They used to say a lot, didn't they, about how radio signals were being beamed into space, and maybe in a couple hundred years there'll be aliens listening to our old broadcasts. Hell, it was the basis for the entire movie Galaxy Quest, for Christ's sake,
Yeah.
which is an excellent movie, which I need to watch again soon because I watch it every year, and I haven't so far in 2024. Maybe I'll watch it multiple times this year.
Mm. All right, that beginning of the sequence when everybody's starting to get up and run, they're not moving fast enough.
No, they're not running for their lives, are they?
It's almost like somebody just said, "Hey, we've got to clear out the building because there's a slight rat infestation."
Hey, there's a
Or,
pretzel cart downstairs, and they're giving away free pretzels. You know, they're not moving so fast that their lives depend on it, but...
I mean, especially that one old guy.
I mean, Lana just sort of was on the ground, and she didn't even bother getting up. Like, Lana, I'm sure, has dealt with much more terrifying scenarios than this.
Yeah.
I do like her costume, though, for the most part. I think the armor works pretty well. Like, you can tell it's not real metal, but I think it's painted reasonably well enough that it totally works. I don't know. Seems a bit weird that Lana is immediately saying give in to her demands, considering usually she's like, don't do what they say, Superboy, don't worry about me.
Well, the fact that she just said that she will let them all live.
True, but okay,
it's
Lana
not a
just jumps
situation
off a
where she's
roof.
just threatening one person. She's threatening the world. And she knows that this villain has the power to, keep her promises.
True, but I don't know. I think Lana has enough faith in Superboy to stop her that she would still be like, don't listen to her, you can beat her, you know. I believe in you, Superboy, that sort of thing. I do think the visual effects are pretty decent in this episode. You know, it's not the best fire effect I've ever seen, but it's also not the worst.
Yeah.
And I like that they actually put an orange light on her when the fire effect was going on to actually give the impression of flames. And this is one of the few episodes where the supervising producer credit actually appeared over the image. Usually it's a separate screen.
Right.
I wonder maybe if this episode was running a little bit long, so they figured, we can save 5 seconds if we do it this way. Often that's the reason. It's why, some episodes of The Simpsons have really short intros. It's just because the episode was running too long, so they had to cut half the intro out. That's why they do it. It's very clever, really. But wouldn't surprise me if that's why they did it. Unless it was just, start of season 3, they're still working out how to exactly do all of this. But there we go. Neila. Viacom.
Yep. I will say this, as an adaptation, an homage adaptation of an existing Superman villainess, she is really good. Okay.
I wish they could have used the name, but I think they did a good job anyway.
Yeah. The design on her suit, it's mostly stuff that they could have gotten from the local leather bar, as it were.
Some of it, yeah.
But
almost like they started with an outfit that you could just buy, but then they just maybe they added things to it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the metal armor plating is just like paper mache or something, and they've just painted it silver.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult to do.
Yeah, I mean they did a really good job on the costume design, making her look, otherworldly in the sense of, she's wearing armor and leather and
and that hair, that ridiculous hair.
And that over the top makeup on her,
Yeah, but I mean it's the 80s. a lot of people had over the top makeup back then, I guess.
Yep.
I think there's even a few episodes where I think Lana is overdoing it on the makeup a bit.
Yeah. The only thing about the makeup that I don't think really works is she's got bluish silver highlights around her eyes
Mm.
and then red lipstick.
Maybe they both should have been blue silver, just
Yeah.
to give a slightly alien look to it.
Yeah. But
I'm
overall,
sure they did. I'm sure they did some like tests and stuff, makeup tests, all of that, just to see what works better. And maybe blue lips just didn't look right or something, or it didn't show up on camera well enough. Who knows?
yeah. But overall, she looks really good. I really wish we could have had, a bit more understanding of what her powers were, because most people, that have talked about her, they're not sure if she's actually teleporting under her own power or whether she's using a device.
Yeah, it could just be technology.
Yeah.
I mean, she seems to have like flame-based powers a lot of the time, but she also has strength. And the teleporting, like you say, they never actually explain whether it's a tech thing or if it's just innate in her ability set.
Yeah. I mean, at least with Maxima in her first appearance, you could see that she was actually teleporting from her ship, and it was technology based, the teleportation.
Hmm.
Um,
I assume that's what it is, but
yeah,
then it's a superhero show, so I guess you do just get people whose power is teleportation.
right.
I can't think of many within the DC universe that do that. I mean, I guess maybe Vibe opens breaches to other locations.
That was only Vibe on this Flash TV series. That
Did he
wasn't
not do that
original.
in the comics? I'm not
No,
overly familiar
in the
with Vibe.
comics, he was basically just generating.
Vibrational energies and stuff.
Yeah,
That's a shame. I can't think of any other teleportation people. I mean, I would say like someone like is it Adam Strange is the character's name, but he uses an actual device that he invented, and it's like
no, no,
some
it wasn't a device he invented. He was actually struck by what was called a zeta beam from the planet Ran.
right. I'm thinking of the version of Adam Strange in Krypton where he's got a Zeta beam device, a Zeta manipulator or something, and he invented it in the show. So that's why I'm getting confused because I'm confusing it with another continuity.
Yeah,
But yeah, he could kind of teleport with that thing, I guess, in the show, but he could also time travel with it. So it was, the rules even there weren't particularly clear. Um, I can't think of any other really teleportation based characters. I mean, I guess Cyborg can open a boom tube to somewhere,
yeah,
but I don't know if that's set where you can only open them to and from specific places. I don't know how it
yeah. Most
works.
of the teleportation characters that have existed in comics have been, from Marvel. Like Nightcrawler.
Yeah, like Marvel, you can think of a whole bunch of different characters that teleport technically within X-Men, or even I'm sure there's got to be some Spider-Man villains that can teleport as well.
The Spot.
You know, let's face it, Doctor Strange can just open a portal to somewhere and step through it, so that's basically teleportation.
Yeah,
Uh, let's face it, he can even do it, I think, in Multiverse of Madness. He can even do it to other universes, but I think he can only do that while he was with what's her name. So I don't think that's technically his power. I think he's just utilizing her ability somehow.
yeah,
It's been a while since I've seen that movie. I only watched it once because it was, to be honest, I thought it was shit. But Marvel hasn't been good for quite some time for me. I
yeah,
think the last good Marvel movie for me was maybe Guardians 3. And then before that was the Spider-Man Far From No Way Home, rather. And then before that was Endgame. I don't think I've enjoyed any other Marvel stuff except maybe WandaVision and Loki since then.
yeah,
And that's a shame because, man, I was obsessed with the Marvel Cinematic Universe for a little while, and I'm completely done with it at this point.
mm.
I
Yeah.
doubt I'll watch anything Marvel again now, unless something comes out that gets like overwhelmingly positive reviews and people are like, Marvel's return to form. It's like Marvel is back, baby, and all of this stuff. I ain't gonna watch it again. I'm sorry. I'm just done with it. The
Yeah.
fact that you need to now watch all of these really shit these Disney Plus shows that are just because it's all nothing but what's the word? Serialized storytelling.
Yeah.
Middle of the season is just useless most of the time because it's just killing time now before you get to the finale. So they do nothing of any actual interest. I think the only shows that worked with that are WandaVision and Loki. And even Loki, you can argue, was kind of a disappointment with its season 1 finale. Season 2 was fucking great. But
and now they've got to recast Kang.
Yeah. Do you know who I want to replace Kang? Who I think would be absolutely phenomenal in that role?
Who?
Christopher Judge from Stargate SG-1. Teal'c. I think Teal'c would be fucking brilliant as Kang. And people are saying, oh yeah, but I don't really buy him as a God of War. Well, go play God of War, where he voices the God of War. Yeah, I've seen that comment a few times. I always find it funny.
A few minutes later.
Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. We really got off topic.
We didn't give a
right. We didn't
rating.
give it a score. I'd give it an 8 myself. I don't think I could go any higher than an 8.
Yeah, I would go with. Yeah, I go an 8 on this. I mean,
I think 8
the
is
acting
even
is really
generous.
good on this.
The acting's good. The action's good. That scene when she's like throwing all the cars and stuff and like turning all the cars over, all practical stuff, and it really looks great. I think if the CW were to do a scene like that now, it would all be CG cars and it would look like utter shit. But Superboy in 1990 pulled it off. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. The costume design on her was absolutely great. It looks earthly but otherworldly at the same time. Because I mean, how many times you've gone to a concert and you've seen somebody dressed almost exactly like that?
That's what I was thinking. She looks like an 80s rock star. We
got an 8 on this. It's well worth it.
It's a good episode. I would say it's a good episode. It's not necessarily a great episode, but I think it does enough things exceedingly well that it deserves an 8.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being a little bit generous, but I don't care. It's we rate it what we want.
Right.
Anyway, 8. I think that's a fair score. What did you think? If you think it's maybe worth scoring a little higher or a little lower, maybe let us know in the comments. If you have any counterpoints to anything that we said, any other arguments, let us know, and perhaps we'll talk about it on the next episode. We'll see. Although it'll probably be a few weeks, just because we're so ahead of our upload schedule at the moment. Anyway, thank you all so much. See you next week. Goodbye.
Viacom.